Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hot Takes with Liz and Jonathan. I'm Liz Wheeler-Hydock with Exertis Almo. I am the BDM here for Samsung. And we have once again our wonderful guest, Jonathan Brawn. Jonathan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you as always. And as always, thank you to our audience out there for being willing to subject themselves to us yet again.
Yet again. Well, in our last video, we kicked off with some really exciting news about a new product that Samsung has recently come out with, which is the VXT software. And we heard why some of the reasons it's going to be such a great addition to the Samsung lineup. And in this one, I really want to talk a little bit more in depth about what are the benefits? What's the difference between that VXT and MagicINFO?
Yeah, that's a good point, because I did say it basically does the same things, but I did the cryptic thing of I think it's easier to use. That's when I made my jokes about 4 buttons and told everybody to go sign up for the demo. You all had homework. You did, right? You went and signed up, right? But I made the cryptic statement of it kind of does the same things. It does them better. I should probably explain. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to do that. So with VXT, again, I make the joke all the time. I did it in our last video, but this is what happens when you listen to 14 years of customer experience and you build on that. So what the Samsung team did is really spend a lot of time taking all the features of MagicINFO, figuring out what do people really need, and most especially what do they really actually use out of the giant feature set it had, because it was pretty impressive, all the things it could do. And then how can we streamline that process and make those things even easier? So at its core, VXT is a digital signage software. So compared to MagicINFO, does the same things. I can publish content, very similar content types, photos, videos, documents like PowerPoint and PDF, web pages. Okay. But they also thought a little further out and said, we'll add some integrations for digital out-of-home ad platforms, because some customers, and this is a very specific end user, but some customers do want to sell ad space on their networks, whether they're a retail environment or maybe an event venue, and they want to use a third-party platform to do it. Shameless cross-promotion. Samsung has a third-party digital out-of-home ad platform. Go check that out, Samsung Ads. But we can integrate with that, making it simpler so that they don't have to juggle all kinds of complex programming and installations, or worse yet, manually having to build everything. I want to automate. And then the MagicINFO tool has long had a built-in content creation component called WebAuthor, which was nice. It did the job, but it was very much like PowerPoint, which isn't bad, but we have better tools for building slides and things than PowerPoint. Well, the new VXT version of that, called Canvas, is a lot more like tools like Canva, where it's got more options, more controls. It's got pre-built content. MagicINFO never did, and now there are pre-built templates. So it's making it more approachable for someone to just build content. You know, anybody like you or I who, we know what digital signage is. I'm not a creative person. I shouldn't be using Photoshop. I don't know why I subscribe to Creative Cloud. I'm probably wasting my company's money. Sorry, Adobe. I apologize in advance, friends. But, I don't have the skill set for that. I'm an AV guy. I'll put pretty pictures up on the wall. Somebody else normally has to draw them for me. But even I can build pretty nice looking content using Canvas. But it also has integration for things like interactive buttons. MagicINFO never really had anything like that. One of the big ones, though, and this is, I'm actually going to put you on the spot and get your opinion on this, because I want to, as our distribution partner and one of our important partners here, this affects you. It has a really cool feature in it now that I think all of our resellers out there in the audience are going to appreciate too. It has an app store. Now, before everybody thinks I'm just being silly and this is a marketing thing, Samsung came up with, we need subtitles sometimes for all the jargon that Samsung puts out, but they call it PIRS, P-I-R-S, Permanently Integrated Repeatable Solutions. People build these connectors and components to customize their signage. Oh, I want to connect with my point of sale system to get pricing for my menus, or I need to connect with a dynamic data source to pull in trivia for the line screens at my bank, right? They build these things like one-off. So now the goal with the App Store is able to have like one-click install plugins for VXT, and there's a ton of them being developed. There's a point of sale integration already. There's a couple of automatic ad generators. There's an AI a content generation tool coming out. There's a dynamic content tool that brings in like sports and news and weather and financial data, trivia, all the traffic data. So there's all these different add-ons. I think the benefit to everybody is recurring revenue and additional value. You know, being able to have your CMS platform, like there's a company building a meeting room scheduling tool. So now instead of having 2 products, I can do it all with 1 product and integrate it with my signage. So I think as a distributor, that would be great for you, right?
Definitely. I mean, that's the big buzzword. Everybody wants that reoccurring revenue, right? Everybody wants to see that so that they know that it's not just one and done, but they can continue that connection over and over and over again. That's
Exactly.
the sweet sauce. That's incredible.
Exactly. And so now for all of our resellers, you also all benefit from that. We didn't plan that in advance, by the way. I genuinely did put her on the spot for that one. But no, I think it's a really important aspect. And then everything else about the VXT platform was streamlined, from how it implements video walls to playlists, scheduling. So all the things you saw with MagicINFO are there, including, of course, if you are using one of the screens that have the integrated system on chip, so using a Samsung commercial display, all the hardware control that made MagicINFO special, that will continue. But one of the other things I think is really cool with VXT, and I kind of hinted at it in our last discussion, is we're much more open to non-Samsung screens now, where I've even seen some customers that just really like the way VXT works, and they're not using our displays. You and I might be a little personally offended at that because we do want to also sell the displays too, but it's really great to see. So VXT has support for, of course, Samsung commercial screens. We talked about that. It has support for Android. So there's an Android app on the Google Play Store right now. You can go download it and put it on. I've run it on my phone. I've run it on my tablet. I've run it on an Android-based non-Samsung TV. So that works, which is great. There's a Windows player that's available now. And so we can convert a Windows PC into a media player. That's great. There's a Linux player that is planned for early next year. That's going to open up even more options for media player types. And so we're getting away from that very specific, if you want to use MagicINFO with a non-Samsung screen, you got to use this one specific player that's awfully hard to get for some reason. None of that anymore. It's totally
If anybody
open.
out there has had that wait time for an SBB NV, this will solve that problem and not have to worry about it any longer. That's incredible that they're doing that they're opening it up. And I love how you mentioned in the beginning that Samsung's really taking heed to the voice of the customer, right? And I think that's why this stuff is finally coming down the pike and we're seeing it, and it's being in an open platform so that people can use it and fall in love with the software and see all the benefits that it does have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of what my organization did as part of the Samsung team was we used to do a lot of training. And I have to say used to, because I'm still doing some training on VXT, but for a lot of customers, when they are interested, I just go sign up for the demo, play with it for a week, call me, and we'll explore your specific uses and your specific questions. But in general, you don't have to hold somebody's hand through the basics of how the software operates anymore. Right. And that's when you know something works really well, is when you don't get simple questions like, how do I upload content? Or how do I get it to a screen? It's more of a, hey, I want to integrate this presence detector with that screen to make it play content when somebody walks up to it. How do I do that in your software? That's not a 101 level question. That's a 201 or a 301 level question. And I love seeing those. We can do that, by the way, folks. So if that comes up, sensors, triggers, that kind of, not a problem.
I love it. Well, I think this is super informative as always, Jonathan. I think it gave us a little bit of a deeper dive into VXT and what the benefits are versus MagicINFO. And we'll put a little teaser out there. I think we're going to do at least one more video on VXT and talk about how, Jonathan, you want to drop it?
Yeah, so we want to talk about, because hopefully we've gotten you all interested, and you're probably going to have some cool opportunities. You've got some customers that have MagicINFO. How do we migrate, and how can Samsung help make that a less, as we talked about in the last session, less painful process?
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, Jonathan, for your time. Thank you for everybody to join us, and come on back for our next hot takes when we can talk a little bit more about the migration. Thanks again.